Happy Friday, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. We're at the end of another great week. Today is Friday, June 18th, 2021, and this is your Friday planning video. So remember, we've come to an end of a pretty incredible week of market news. That information will be summed up in our Tuesday video, so please take a look at that if that's of interest to you. So it's been an amazing week. I had my oldest son graduate from high school this week, and that was just an incredible milestone for me. So I just wanted to share a couple things with you and talk to you about milestones today, because I was talking to someone this week about just that, about milestones, and I wanted to share, as I told them, milestones are such the fun part, right? Most of the time, at least, the milestones are where we look forward to. In working with you, I am blessed with the opportunity to work and share in so many of those milestones. We're going to focus today on some of those good ones that we look at. We'll talk about some that aren't as good, but most importantly, let's focus a little bit on those great milestones we got. We've talked a lot in these videos about planning, about goals, about keeping our eyes focused on that. As you can imagine, so much of my time is spent working with you to pursue those goals. So don't forget, the achievement of those goals, that is the overall objective of our plan. So when we get to things like college graduations, weddings, retirements, children, grandchildren, that's a time that we celebrate those milestones. When we get to that point, I have to tell you, the fun really starts. We have to work hard to plan for retirement spending and preservation of your wealth. We do that as well, but the fun part is helping you get into that next mode, into whatever that next milestone takes you to. I was at a conference many, many years ago, and the author of a book that was entitled, What's Age Got to Do with It? Her name was Kelly Farron. I recommend the book. She asked a room full of us. There was probably 250 of us, ages 25 to 75, and she asked us the following question: what is the best age of your life? So she proceeded to ask us to put up our hands when she got to the number that was what we were looking for. She started with newborns and went to infants and went to teenagers, all the way through college, through 40s, 50s, all the way to 70s and 80s. What do you think the overwhelming best ages were? There were a lot of people who chose college. There were a lot of people who chose the infant age, where all we do is we sleep and we eat and rely on our parents. And interestingly enough, as a parent of an 18-year-old, I never realized how closely that rhymed with the infant stage, but we'll come back to that another time. We also saw, like I said, we saw hands go up there in college age and other ages along the lines. But as you can imagine, as we got higher in ages, we found fewer and fewer hands go up. And I will tell you, that's where she started her presentation. She says, that is not, I repeat, not how life should be. I submit to you, as the author of the book said, as you age, you should be getting to the point where the best days are still ahead of you, or live them now, is what she was saying. Now, I'm not sure how many of you will be that 85-year-old barefoot water skier, or the 95-year-old or 90-year-old skydiver. But how many of you are planning your retirement years so you'll travel around the world? Maybe traveling and spending time with family and friends. Maybe going and visiting children. Well, let's be honest, grandchildren. You're going to go visit them. I've spoken to more than one client who's told me that they're going to take a trip of a great distance that they could never have done before to visit a relative that they've never seen before because of the distance. What I want to express to you today is that, like that group of people at our conference, so much of the planning that we do drives us to think about how we'll protect our wealth when we get sick or we need assistance in our daily lives. That's not really what we're here. That's a part of it. Now, don't get me wrong. The fact that we talk about long-term care insurance and permanent income sources, using insurance and annuities, that's all definitely part of it, and it's important. What I don't want you to lose sight of is there's a lot more that we're working towards. As many of you are coming off of weeks of graduations and other milestones, I want you to think about these events and these activities that we're working towards. Yes, we'll have to plan for some of the less happy occasions. We'll plan for losses of family members, but we'll also plan for births of new children and grandchildren and even great-grandchildren. We'll plan for the time where you have to care for others or be cared for, but we're also going to plan for those retirements and the graduations and the other great milestones that you have in your life. How will you celebrate your retirement? How will you celebrate it when you write that check or you make that last payment on the mortgage in your house? How will you celebrate the births and graduations and retirements in the future? As we wrap up this week that has directed me to think about my first high school graduate, I wanted to once again wish all the graduates and their families a huge mazel tov, a huge congratulations. This is the time of year for those milestones. Maybe it's high school or college or medical school, even kindergarten. Maybe it's just it's summertime and it's summer vacation after a year of COVID. This is what we work so hard for. So as Kelly Farron writes, what does age have to do with it? And I implore you, please don't let that number limit you. As always on these Friday videos, I want to direct us to keep our eyes on our goals, stay in pursuit of those goals. When we hit those milestones, let's celebrate them. It's a huge part of that journey is the celebration of those milestones. I look forward to sharing so many of those next steps with you. Just a few things. Lin-Manuel Miranda said to the graduates of University of Pennsylvania in 2016 when he spoke to them, he says, "You are about to enter the most uncertain and thrilling period of your lives." And St. Ignatius of Loyola says, "Go forth and set the world on fire." Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.